Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our end of the year service, purification appreciation service. Today, I'm going to apologize to you ahead. If the broadcast ends abruptly, that's all my fault because unfortunately, I forgot to bring the plug for the computer. So hopefully we'll be able to get through today's service without any problems. Crossing my fingers on this. But before we start today's service, let us begin with the prayer of sincere toritsugi. Also, if you looked at the service order, there's just a little bit of a difference. Make sure that you hover over the hyperlinks. They should be directing you to the prayers that we will be using for today. So let's begin with the prayer for sincere toritsugi. Haire. Prayer of sincere toritsugi. I am a Konko Kyo believer. I believe in Ikigami Konko Daijin, Tenchi Kane no Kami. I've come today to practice my faith, appreciate and acknowledge the blessings, favors, and interventions of Tenchi Kane no Kami, honor the ancestors, and learn more about the faith of Konko Daijin. As I learn more about the heart of Tenchi Kane no Kami, I nurture the faith of my spiritual family. Thus, I boldly confess that my mind is alert, my heart is receptive, and I will never be the same as long as I practice the faith and receive toritsugi. Kigami Konko Daijin sama, Tenchi Kane no Kami sama, thank you. Haire. Let's begin today's ceremony. Chido Haire, 4 sincere claps. Chido Keide, please bow your heads in prayer. Tsushimite Kigami Konko Daijin no omae ni mosaku mayori Tenchi Kane no Kami get霊祭並びに年越お祓い感謝祭取り行わんとす。教祖金光大臣をはじめ、歴代金光様、金光教大阪教会、道広教会、玉水親教会、サンフランシスコ教会、各教会、主大教会長、歴代教会長をはじめ、ワヒヤワ教会主大教会長の御徳をすがり申し、今日の御祭り、使え祭らんとす。これあげ行わん礼儀、記憶、通過に、ろがみ祭る信奉者、もろもろ、のも身を正し、心新たにいただかしめたまえと、勘取り次、恋ネギ祭りて、かしこみも申す。Kigami Konko Daijin, I seek your toritsugi for today's service. Today we conduct the Tenchi Kane no Kami monthly ceremony and end of year purification and appreciation ceremony. As someone without virtue, I seek to receive and cling to the virtue of Konko Daijin, the succeeding Konko Daijin-sama, as well as the founding and past head ministers of the Kongo churches of Osaka, Michihiro, Tamamizu, San Francisco, and Wahiawa for today's service. Today, the believers and I come together with our hearts, bodies, and minds refreshed, purified, and ready for today's service. Thank you. Now, please raise your heads. Amatsu norito Takama no hara ni kamuzumarimasu. Kamurogi kamuromi no mikoto mochite Sumemi oya kami zanagi no mikoto Tsukushi no hyuga no tachibana no odo no wawagi hara ni misogi harai tamau toki ni haremaseru harai do no kami tachi moro moro no magago to tsumi kegare o harai tamai kiyome tamae to mosu koto no yoshi o wamatsu kami kunitsu kami yao yorozu no kami tachi tomo ni yame no fuchi koman no imi fu振り立ててきこしめせとかしこみも申す。表明たまえと思います。表明たまえと思います。表明たまえと思います。それぞれの全部払えた。Please open your prayer books to page 3 for the Kami prayer. Kami prayer. Reverently we pray. The brilliance of heaven, the richness of earth, time flows without cease, years pass without end. In heaven and earth is a life that nurtures all. In heaven and earth is a truth that orders all. For this wondrous form, for these wondrous works, let us praise Tenchi Kane no Kami. Let us praise the divine parent of the universe. Kami loves and cares for all humanity, all those who live between heaven and earth. To revere Kami as a divine parent, to live in Kami's infinite blessings, this is the way. Yet many, not knowing the way, are lost in greed and selfishness. They suffer the cycle of misfortunes. Great is Kami's sorrow. Our founding father, Konko Daijin, suffered many trials in this world, but held fast to faith and sincerity. He received Kami's great blessing and began the life of mutual fulfillment of Kami and humanity. Humbly we pray. Divine Parent's great wish was thus fulfilled. Konko Daijin accepted the call to mediation that leads to the mutual benefit of Kami and humanity. By day, he taught the way of faith to all who sought him, expounding the blessings of heaven and earth. And he knew not the coming of night. By night, he prayed for those who grieved, seeking salvation for all who suffered. And he knew not the dawning of day. Though years passed and the world changed, he did not waver from his task, the divine task of mediation. Thus was given the sacred Tenchi Kane, the guiding principle for our daily life. The divine favor was thus renewed and blessings flowed universally, establishing the way of eternal prosperity, the way of mediation of Ikigami Konko Daijin. By this wondrous revelation, we are given knowledge of the way. Through all the hardships of this world, through pain of body and soul, the way of mediation teaches us to turn our hearts to Kami. Without regard for day or night, whether we are near or far, the way of mediation teaches us to pray with total trust. For living unaware of divine favor, we offer our sincere apologies and pledge to mend our ways. Let us live our faith every day, seeking and rejoicing in your divine favor. Let us care for those in pain and invite them to the way. Let us guide those who are lost and awaken them to a life of purpose. Kami is fulfilled in us. We are fulfilled in Kami. May this way of mutual fulfillment be manifested in this world. May Kami's wish for true peace and the well-being of all people be fulfilled. So we humbly pray. So we earnestly pray. Chido Keide, please bow your heads in prayer. Kakemmakumo kashikoki, Kigami Konko Daijin, Tenchi Kane no Oyagami sama no mimae ni, Konko San Diego教会 Takahashi Senji. かしこみも魔王作。かしこかれど、我が天地金の神橋。神徳、天地にあまねく道渡らせたまい。物皆を生かし、ローズのこと整えさせたまい。聞いても、天地の間に住む人間はみんな神の氏子とめでい尽くしみたまいてあるわ。どうも賢きことの極みにな。 On this chipper morning here at the Konko Church of San Diego, on behalf of your beloved children, we have joined in one heart to share our love, sincerity, and appreciation to you for the blessings, favors, protection, and interventions we receive daily throughout 2020. Thank you very much for the favors you have showered upon each of the Ujiko of the San Diego Church, North San Diego County Gathering, and the Harugata Nikosha. Many of us continue to receive your favor and interventions, especially in these recent times. We offer our hearts of appreciation for the daily goyo of our spiritual patriarch, Kyoshu Konko-sama. Recently, we have learned of his intention to retire from his role in March of 2021. Kami-sama, as you know, personally for me, he is someone that I truly look up to. He is the only Konko-sama that I know, and I am very indebted to him, as well as his son, Reverend Kyoji Konko, who has always assisted me when asked. Albeit saddened by Konko-sama's decision, I offer my heartfelt love and appreciation for the 30 years of goyo at the headquarters Okekkai, his prayers and teachings. It is my prayer that you will keep him and his wife, Yaeko-sama, healthy in order for them to continue with their goyo. We also remember and give thanks to the second spiritual patriarch, Konko Shijin Tsurayuki no Kimi, who passed away on December 20th in 1893. Shijin Konko took over after Konko Daijin's passing. He served at Okekkai for 10 years. Shijin-sama reminds us that as long as we have faith and ask for Konko Daijin's help, you will always be there to help us. We thank you for our parent churches and their respective head ministers, Konko Church of Kamamizu, Reverend Masao Yukawa, and Konko Church of San Francisco, Reverend Joanne Lynn Tolosa. We also offer prayers of appreciation for those ministers who have supported and continue to pray for not just the San Diego Church, but also the flame of faith that continues to burn ever so brightly here in San Diego County. Mahalo anui for Reverends Henshin Konko, Kyoji Konko, Toyo Saito, Reverend Roderick Hashimoto, Koichen Seiko Konko, Kyoshi Wakiko Igawa, Mitsuo Ishimatsu, Edna Matsuoka, Kazuichi Nogata, Shuko Tsura, Bishop Amy Uzunoe Chin, Nobuharu Uzunoe, Michinori and Ikueyagi, and Mitsuko Yasutake. Please keep these ministers in good health so they may be allowed to continue to do their sacred goyo. We also offer prayers of appreciation for the late Dr. Katsumi Miyai and his wife, Mrs. Choko Miyai, for planting the seed of faith here in San Diego County. Thank you for Mrs. Miyai as she continues to do her utmost to nurture the hearts and faiths of members of the North County San Diego Gathering. We ask that you keep her healthy and strong and allow her to continue sharing your message of love and hope with those in and out of San Diego County. We take this time to honor and appreciate you for sending the late Madam Mitsuhiro Bando, the late Reverend Norikazu Yukawa, and Reverend Masaharu Kikegawa, who in their own respective ways help those suffering to find salvation here in San Diego County. We offer our heartfelt appreciation for the Reverend Roderick Hashimoto, who you sent to assist as our second head minister. 2020 has been a year where your teaching, Ten to Chi no Aida ni sumu ningen wa minna kami no ujiko. Humans living between heaven and earth are all the beloved children of Kami, was truly important for all of us in light of what has been happening in the States. Kami-sama, purify the hearts and minds of all human beings. Help us to expel hate, anger, and wrath from our souls. We ask you to help us to not only keep unconditional love and compassion in all of our hearts, but to also reflect it in our daily lives. Help us to be embracing and loving, kind and generous to all, regardless of race, sexual orientation, size, nationality, one's skin color, gender identity, age, occupation, social status, etc. Awaken us and purify us of sloth and hubris so that we can be loyal and loving, good and industrious Ujiko who make an impact, big or small, on our communities, cities, counties, and countries. Guide us in our hearts and our actions and to be embracing, loving, kind, and generous. Since March of this year, the novel coronavirus has affected people's lives, their physical and mental health and livelihoods. The numbers in San Diego County and California continue to rise. In San Diego County alone, there are approximately 126,465 cases, and throughout California, there are approximately 2.1 million cases. And in the United States as a whole, 19.4 million cases, with over 11 million having recovered. We are very grateful for the vaccines from Pfizer, BioNTech, and Moderna that have been approved by the CDC. We pray that with each mask worn and each vaccine given, this will be the start of a new world where people will begin living an adapted normal life, and where love and compassion for all our brothers and sisters is part of our daily lives. Please continue to watch over all who are suffering from illness and disease. We pray for those suffering from mental and physical illnesses and disorders, dementia, cancer, COVID-19, heart disease, etc. Through your divine intervention and favor, grant these individuals a renewed life and guide them to becoming useful individuals to society. However, we also pray for those who are their caretakers. Allow them to get time off for themselves and allow them a moment of sanity and serenity. And give them the additional strength to continue loving and caring for their loved ones. As this year comes to an end, we take this opportunity to reflect on this year, on this long and trying year for many of us. It is the third Konko-sama who taught us nan wa mikage, or hardship is kami's favor. We ask that you please take our hands and help us to use this opportunity as a means of reflection and resurrection upon our lives, faiths, hearts, and actions. Allow us to reflect on the favors, blessings, protection, and interventions received throughout this year and throughout the pandemic. We pray for the victims of tragedies, natural and human-made disasters, to recuperate materially, physically, mentally, and spiritually. As we continue working to achieve our goals in our individual lives, whether it be for our occupation, studies, relationships, and personal growth, help us to remember to enjoy the blessings we are receiving every day. And we ask for your protection and guidance with every step we take. Please guide us. Please give us the strength to move forward in all aspects of our lives. And help us to live a kami-centered life as we are all allowed to live in the universe through your grace. Kigami Konko Daijin Sama, Tenchi Kane no Kami Sama. We implore you to help use us as your instruments of peace, to make an impact, big or small, on our communities, cities, counties, and countries. Guide us in our hearts and our actions to be embracing, loving, kind, and generous. Where there is love, where there is hatred, let us sow love. Where there is injury, let us offer forgiveness. Where there is discord, let us build peace. As I bring this prayer to a close, it is our prayer that we can end this year safely, in peace and harmony, with love and joy. We pray that the blessings and favor of today's service is granted and received by all here today and those who could not join us. Me ke aloha pu me hana. Mahalo anui e, our beloved Ikiami Konko Daijin, Tenchi Kane no Kami. Now, please raise your heads. 一同共に拝礼 4 sincere claps along with the head officiant. Please open your prayer books to page 29 for Shintoku Sanji. 仰ぎ祭れば天高く、仰ぎ祭れば天高く、拝み祭れば地は厚し、神の恵みに生かさるるみの幸いぞありがたき、我が生き神の恩取り次ぎ、人品もかくる時のなく天地の神の御守りとき近きの隔てなし感に尽くしみはよろずよにあまねく満ちて果てしなく感計らいはくすしくて人の思いぞを呼ばざる我ら今月今日いやび祭りでひたすらに神の御影をたたえ祭らん神の比例を仰ぎ祭らんPrayer for the ending of the novel coronavirus pandemic. ひがみ金光大臣様、天地金の神様。ひがみ金光大臣様、天地金の神様。We offer our hearts of appreciation for your love and virtue as we are allowed to live in this very moment. Currently, a pandemic is rapidly spreading throughout the world. The novel coronavirus pandemic is causing much concern and raising anxieties amongst people and nations. Thus, we offer our hearts and prayers to you to end this pandemic as soon as possible. Sadly, there are those who have passed away because of this virus, and we put our hands together to pray for their spirit's peace and salvation. We also pray for those who are infected by the virus to quickly heal and recuperate in order that they may continue to contribute to society and the world. We pray for political, economical, and educational reform so that all the anxieties and distrust we have been harboring will dissipate and we will be blessed with societal order. For those that are suffering in the midst of this pandemic, please allow their faith to be resurrected and their livelihoods restored. Thus, now more than ever, we commit to reviving our hearts of appreciation, having a heart of kami and praying for and guiding others. May we all be awakened to your truth that a faith that helps others helps ourselves. Use us to help you in this crusade to end this pandemic and bring peace to this world. It is our sincere prayer that the people of the world will not only have peace of mind, but also live happily, safely, and healthily. ひがみ金光大臣様、天地金の神様。ひがみ金光大臣様、天地金の神様。一同拝礼 4 sincere claps. 一度入れ 4 sincere claps. Please open your prayer books to page 11 for prayer to the departed souls. Spirits of those who have gone before us, you were given the gift of life in this vast and endless universe. You discharge your duties faithfully, each according to your span of years. You will be remembered eternally, your lives retold from generation to generation, honored as the foundation of our society and the roots of our families. We revere you as the ancestral spirits of our homes, our own divine spirits. We beseech you, stand by us each and every one. Receive the favor of Kami and help us to fulfill our tasks as people without failing. Protect us, guide us, enrich us, that we may never lose the way of faith, that we hand it down to all generations, that we may live in peace and prosperity within our homes. Protect us, guide us, enrich us. Page 36, 祖先三時。世々の親は我が家の神我が神と心尽くしていつき祭らんな心尽くしていつき祭らんな尊き御親の神たちよ海の子のために家の柱を沈め立てたまい初子のために世のなりわいを守り助けたまい隔離をのみえぬ境にましませども右つく市民の御心は映しよに変わらせたまわず先見たまのまさきく先は言えたまいくしみたまのくしびに恵みたまいて志は薪の柱の動きなくなりわいは結ぶつなめのゆるびなく真心清らに励み努めしめたまいうからやから和らぎあいて日にけんに浦安く楽しましめたまいついに移しよのことを得て神の御門に参らん時には必ずしも迎え取りたまい右つくしみよこむらしめたまわんものと神の実りの大へなるをかしこみかたじけな耳親の恵みのおぼろげならぬを嬉しみ喜び申すことを見心も涼やかにきこ示したまえと申す穴くしびのみ親の御霊穴くしびのみ親の御霊穴ととのみ親の神穴ととのみ親の神一度入れ 4 sincere claps. So Haide, 4 sincere claps. Hamasu ki kakete inoranayo yo no oya, oya no mi oya no kami no chihai yo. Hamadasu ki kakete inoranayo yo no oya, oya no mi oya no kami no chihai yo. 拝礼。拝礼。Please open your prayer books to page 6 for the Tenchi Kakitsuke. Recitation of Tenchi Kakitsuke. Kigami Konko Daijin Tenchi Kane no Kami Isshin ni Negae Kage wa waga kokoro ni ari Kongetsu konnichi de tanome. Pray sincerely with all your heart. Be one with Kami. Kami's blessings begin within, hearts grateful and caring, in harmony and joy. Look to Kami always, now and forever, on this very day. Pray. Haide. Good morning. Thank you very much for joining us again. You know, this new camera kind of makes me look skinny, huh? Wow, I'm not even wearing black and it makes me look skinny. I like this camera. Today is our monthly service for Tenchi Kane and our end of the year purification appreciation ceremony. You know, when we look back at the end this year, I think coronavirus. I wrote it in the newsletter. I'm going to say it again. #COVID sucks. And I don't doubt it threw a curveball for all of us. I think, and here at the San Diego Church, you know, I mean, we're very lucky to have a place to still come to worship and a place to worship at. However, you know, I truly miss having our believers here with me. It gets a little lonely. Furthermore, it's also very stressful to not have them here. It's much more stressful this way than it is when they're here. And I think it's because of the additional technology, the additional responsibilities. And so I know coronavirus has thrown us. It has thrown people in terms of their workplaces. I have been teaching from home. It's kind of frustrating at times because I don't have the kind of flexibility that I would normally do in the classroom. I know for myself, in health-wise, injuries that I had from 5 years ago when I was in a car accident 5 years ago. Injuries that I have had resurfaced with vengeance. And, you know, speaking with, you know, my chiropractor, my physical therapist, and my acupuncturist, they've all said that they've seen their clients return to them. More and more of them are returning to them during this time period because COVID has really restricted us in what we have done in our everyday lives. But even amongst that, I'm so glad that I have this faith. I'm so glad I have these teachings. I'm so glad I have people like Dan Jackson and Reverend Edna Matsuoka and Reverend Joanne Tolosa, all these wonderful ministers who check up on me, to remind me that to keep my heart open and refreshed and to focus on the positive. My spiritual mentor, Reverend Wakiko Igawa, and her children are wonderful reminders as well. And I've come, as this year slowly is winding down, I started thinking about, I've been truly blessed. I have been truly blessed. I couldn't fly to Germany like I wanted to, but I was able to visit my parents, and I thank all of you for understanding why I had to go home to Hawaii. And my brother and my family is very appreciative for that time that I was able to spend at home. We were able to still hold services here at the San Diego Church, even though it's online, and more people can see this now online, and I'm getting to learn more about technology. There's a silver lining. There's always a positive thing. There truly is positivity in this darkness. In my newsletter, and I know I spoke about this in our Godaisai, about Reverend Keiki also, and if you understand Japanese, I encourage you to watch his Godaisai sermon. It truly, truly touched my heart, where his sermon talks about going into the darkness with light, with a lantern, with this light, this revolution of going into this darkness. And I spoke about that in the newsletter, and I watched it recently. I watched it again, which inspired me and said, yes, I have been receiving okage. I don't know how I survived this year, and I know it's through the grace of Kami-sama. It's through the okage I've received from Kami-sama that I'm here. When I think about the San Diego Church as a whole, presently there are churches all throughout California, whether they're Kongokyo, Buddhist, Christian, Tendikyo, whatever, that are truly suffering financially. They're suffering financially. And recently, the North American Diocese had some kind of proposal to help all the churches here in KCNA with some sort of money. And I thought to myself, well, we're not financially struggling at all. In fact, that money is supposed to be used for a specific reason. And in my prayers, my daily prayers, I write that the San Diego Church will not be dependent on our headquarters. It will not be dependent financially on headquarters, or not be dependent financially on the diocese. I will not be dependent. We will cling to Kami-sama to restore us. We will cling to Kami-sama to reestablish, not just reestablish, but to bring so that we have a brand new church facility. We will cling to Kami-sama. We will believe that. And I believe that. And I was thinking when I was told in Whittier, they told me that, they're passing this thing, or they're talking about this thing for the diocese. They said, we don't need that, because we don't have such issues. We don't. And it's through the grace of Kami-sama, truly through the workings of Yukawa Sensei's Mitama Spirit, that we were able to have services here without any financial issues. What a huge blessing. What a huge favor that is. Not many churches can say that. We still have our issues, but we still are doing so well for ourselves. I have nothing. I'm so in awe. When I realized that, I was so in awe at Kami-sama's grace and compassion and Yukawa Sensei's working for us. Furthermore, when you think about it, this coming January 1st, so for many years since Yukawa Sensei passed away, we were not able to have a New Year's Day ceremony on New Year's Day for many years. And in 2019 was the first time we were able to have a New Year's service on New Year's Day. 2019, January 1st. Then we had it again on January 1st, 2020. And we will have it again for a third time in January 1st, 2021. You know, I remember when I did Otoritsugi with Koichi Sensei, my former head minister at the Honolulu church. I said, no, these people have what I apologize to him, saying, you know, the San Diego believers waited so long for someone to come, and I made them wait. I said, Koichi Sensei, I need to be there before January 1st, 2019. We need to do a service on that day. They have waited too long. And you know, in 7 days, I think, if we count today's, I think it's 7 days on Friday, January 1st, 2021, we will be able to truly say thank you to Kami-sama. Because on a third year in a row, we will be able to have our New Year's service on New Year's Day. What a blessing. What a favor. And I cannot stop but feel so happy and grateful to Kami-sama for that. For those of you who watched the Whittier Rose Hill end of year service, I think you heard me say this, but you know, in my daily prayers as well, I prayed that once a month, I would be able to go to Whittier Rose Hills and to do a Ore Sampai or pilgrimage of appreciation to Whittier Rose Hills Church in Whittier, California. And I started that. I kind of went pretty good. And then it stopped as my schedule got busy. And only during Godaisai season would I be able to go up. I was not able to go up. And sadly, you know, it pains me that it pained me at that time that Reverend Wakiko Igawa and Reverend Kyoshigawa, you know, could not return for Godaisai for this year. You know, that they wouldn't be able to return because the coronavirus was just ridiculous in the New Jersey, New York area at that time. And we were still pretty good in Los Angeles. Los Angeles was still high. We were really good at that time in San Diego, but it wasn't good for them. It wasn't, and because they're high risk, they're in that high risk area, they could not return. And it pained me. And I thought, I have to do something. And I prayed about it, and it's a seed planted in my heart. And I said, okay, I'm going to do otodoke with Wakiko Sensei and see what they say. And I spoke with Kyoshi Sensei, I spoke with Wakiko Sensei, and they were elated that I would be able to go up and I would be able to do goyo. And, you know, the funny thing is, it took about 4 months until I realized, wow, my prayer has come to fruition. And it actually is bigger than my prayer was just to do Ore Sampai or a pilgrimage of appreciation, not to do goyo. That wasn't my prayer at all. But Kami-sama multiplied my prayer, multiplied the favor that he gave me, and allowed me to do goyo. And I don't know. I'm just so in awe. I don't know where I have the energy. I don't know where I have the strength. I don't know where I have the finances to do all of these things. But as Wakiko Sensei taught it, you know, as long as you do goyo with a sincere heart, Kami-sama will make sure that what you need will be ready. The finances, the health, and the time. Those resources will be ready for you and will be provided by Kami-sama. And so I'm so grateful for that. Truly grateful. There is a silver lining amongst all of this craziness called 2020 and COVID-19. You know, as I read in the Norito today, on December 20th, the second spiritual patriarch, Shijin Konko, passed away. And you know, Shijin Konko, if you have the opportunity and you can read Reverend Kyoji Konko's speech. His speech is called A Letter of Appreciation to Dear Konko-sama? Dear Konko-sama? I think it's called Dear Konko-sama. And then in Japanese it said, Ore ga tarinu ore Konko-sama e no ore no tegami. Ore ga tarinu, a letter that is lacking appreciation. I cannot translate that, and that's a lot. But anyway, it's a very powerful letter, and in it, he talks about the second Konko-sama and how Konko-sama was not afraid. He knew that he didn't have the faith of his father. He knew that he didn't have the virtue of his father, but he wasn't afraid to sit at the Kekkai because he knew that his father would come and pray with him, would do prayers with him at the altar. He knew, and there was a specific time, if I'm correct, that his father came. You know, this reminds me of what my spiritual mentor, Reverend Wakiko Igawa, always said, that as long as we do things with a sincere heart, as long as we have faith, we ask Konko-sama will always be there to help us. In fact, it was Konko Daijin who made the sacred promise. When my form disappears, I will go wherever I am asked. Konko Daijin made a sacred promise. And he showed us that promise through Shijin-sama. I got to see that promise through Wakiko Sensei. I got to learn more about that promise through Reverend Masaki Takahashi. I got to experience that promise many times over this entire year. And I encourage all of you, before you go to work, before you start cooking dinner, or while you're cooking dinner, you know, I remember Wakiko Sensei would wash the dishes, and I would hear her chanting, "Ikami konko daijin sama, ikami konko daijin sama." Not washing dishes, sorry, washing rice, "Ikami konko daijin sama, ikami konko daijin sama, ikami konko," chanting the divine name, "Ikami konko daijin sama," over and over as she washed the rice. I would remember her doing the laundry, and she would put her hands together and ask Konko-sama to please enter into the washing machine, please clean the laundry, thank you for the clothing. She would pray. If you've ever seen me drive, the first thing I do is that my hands are together and I ask Konko-sama to enter into my body so that I can drive and get to my next destination safely. I ask Konko-sama to enter into the car that I'm driving at the moment, which belongs to the Speeses. Please enter into this car and allow this car to function properly and get me to my destination safely. You know, Konko-sama, if we ask, Konko-sama, Konko Daijin will be there. I remember, this is a long time ago, it was over 20 years ago, I was doing 100 days of training. In the last 10 days, I was running every 10 days, something had happened to me. Every 10 days, something had happened to me. And the last 10 days, I kept waiting, and I'm like, what's going to happen? Nothing's happening. What's going to happen? Nothing's happening. I had no clue what was happening. And the day before the 100th day, the 99th day, I remember leaving the International Center in Tokyo, and I cannot remember what the bridge is. Kanda. I was crossing over the Kanda Bridge, not this way to cross over. The bridge goes over the railways. I was crossing the street this way, not this way. Crossing the street this way, and as I was just about to cross the street, this BMW hit me, boom, and I shouted. I remember clearly shouting out loud, "Konko-sama!" I shouted so loud, and I didn't fall down. Instead, I had flown and apparently landed on my feet. The car driver stopped. I checked myself, like, am I okay? I'm okay. And I was about to head off back, walk over to the train station when the guy in the BMW ran over to me, and all these people said, "No, you gotta go talk to him." So he goes, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine." "You need to go to the hospital?" "Yeah, no, I'm fine. Absolutely fine. No problems." He goes, "Are you sure? Like, I hit you really hard, and he told me, he saw me fly, just land on my feet." I go, "I don't know." But there's one thing I never told that person, that I told Reverend Masanori Oba, because that on the 100th day, the last day, I went to the Kongo Church of Shiba, where I where I did my toritsugi and where I went to often. And I told Reverend Masanori Oba, I remember when I landed. I remember when I was hit, I shouted Kongo-sama so loud. And I remember when I landed, I felt like someone had just grabbed me and held me. And he was, Masanori Sensei said, that was part of your 100th day, the last 10 days. What would you do then? That's what Kami-sama gave you. And what you did was you clung to Kami-sama. You clung to Kami-sama. That was the final test of your 100 days of training. So today, I want to challenge all of you. If you read the newsletter, you saw it, I'm going to challenge all of you. This year, 2020, has been, again, #COVID sucks, but we know that there's so much positive that happened in this world. We know that there's a lot of positive that happened to you. And so I challenge you. Challenge number 1, before December 31st, 2020, before that day, or even on that day, I don't care, but before, it cannot go past that day, I would love to hear from you. I would love for you to send me a story of something positive and powerful, good that happened to you. What happened to you that was positive? There has to be something. Nothing can be fully 100% negative. No, because that's not the way Kami-sama works. No. Let's not stand in fear of Kami-sama. Let's stand in love and embrace Kami-sama. So there is something. So I challenge you to share with me your story. I challenge you to share with me your story. The second challenge is this. From here on forth, I want you to have a relationship with Kami-sama. I want you to ask Kongo-sama to be a part of your everyday life. It's a true story, let me tell you. If you know the Yano family who are part of the Kongo Michelle Wahiwa, and I've never forgotten this story. This is a family that lived in poverty for many years. And it's a fact. They lived in poverty for many years. But they still operated the church. They did what they still continued mediation, they continued services, they never complained. But the one thing that I learned from Reverend Reiko Yano, Reverend Edna Matsuoka's mother, was to always be close to Kongo-sama, to always call out the name, Ikemi Kongo-sama or Kongo-sama, to always call on Kongo-sama, wherever, whenever, no matter what may happen. And I remember one day, Reverend David Yano had shared this story. I don't know why he was sharing the story for, but he shared the story. And he said, he remembers once he went to the bathroom, he had to use the bathroom. And after he used the bathroom, he flushed it. And then the water wasn't going down, it started to flood. And he was getting really scared because he thought it was going to overflow. And he was freaking out. So he pressed the thing again, and it wasn't working. So you remember what his mom said, and he clapped his hand. And he said, Kongo-sama, Kongo-sama, Kongo-sama. And next thing you know, it went right down the drain. Reverend Reiko Yano was to go on a field trip to Japan with her students from the Japanese school she teaches at. And the Japanese school that she teaches at is operated by the Soto Zen Buddhist sect in Wahiwa, the temple there. And they had to get her insurance. Well, as I stated, they lived in poverty. And this was before Obamacare. So she wrote as her insurance, Ikigami Konko Daijin-sama. And in fact, the kids, all 3 of them, when they went on field trips and they asked for the insurance, they put Ikigami Konko Daijin-sama. No one's going to know. I mean, like the Department of Education is going to think, oh, that's a fake insurance company. Maybe it's a Japanese insurance company. It definitely was an interesting insurance company because this was the insurance company, Kami-sama. And that's how that family, they are the perfect example of how to live a life close to Kami-sama, to involve Kongo-sama in your everyday life, from using the bathroom to cooking to cleaning, at work. And I encourage you, my second challenge to all of you, is to please incorporate 神様 in your everyday lives. Ask 神様. Don't stand in fear. That is not faith. Embrace 神様. This is a 神様 that wants a relationship with you. So that's challenge number 2. Challenge 1, share with me your story of okage. Share with me your story of light and positivity within this coronavirus. And 2, bring Konko-sama into your life more. Let Kami-sama embrace you in your everyday life. Live your life together with Kami-sama. It's not that hard. Well, it's a challenge because we tend to forget. But the more and more we keep practicing, the better we become. Finally, I just have 3 announcements. So number 1, if you are interested in the newsletter, I wrote it in the newsletter as well. I do have a remind.com account, and I use it for school, but I am allowed to use a non-school function, up to 3 non-school functions. And I've incorporated the San Diego Church for that. So if you would need a reminder of when the next church service will be, please sign up for it. The code is there. You can either get an email or a text message, and the text message will also have the link. We'll always have the link to the YouTube channel as well. And then the second thing is, please also check. We do have a website. I'm getting to the habit of updating it. I just updated it with the links for the YouTube channel for the next 3 services as well. And then, and again, the third announcement is that yes, we will have our New Year service, our 3rd New Year service, this January 1st. That's on Friday. And it's our 3rd one. And then I will be leaving for Los Angeles to do we did Rose Hills and New Year's service as well. So we're only going to have 1 service this month. And then we're back to 2 in February. So I look forward to seeing all of you again. I do hope you please stay safe. Please stay healthy. Please keep Kami-sama in your heart and in your lives. And if you need toritsugi, feel free to email me or text me as well. But thank you so much for joining us for today's ceremony. Please take care, and we will see you in 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, shoot. In 5 days, 5, 6 days, whatever, on January 1st. Ahui ho.